The next question is, will we be given a second chance to go to heaven? Well, the answer to that is different than the answers that the Christians will give, because they make it sound like it's very easy to go to heaven. Just take shelter of Krishna, not Krishna, take shelter of Jesus. Jesus saves, they say. So they presume that if you pray to Jesus and surrender to Jesus, they have their own initiation processes. The Baptists, for example, the priests will take you and actually dip you in the water. That's their, I think they go to their sacred places, the River Jordan in the Middle East, and they bring back a small bottle of water from that river, and then they pour a little bit into a large tank, a few drops in a large tank, so the whole thing is supposed to become a sacred River Jordan. And then, so that's called baptism, and then they think, now you're saved. Now do you accept Christ as your Lord? If you say yes, it's home free. This is what they believe, most of the Christians. Although some sincerely say you should give up sinful activity, but once again, they don't know what is sin and what is not. There are Christians still that have morality. There still are. They're shrinking in numbers. In 1960s, 1950s, there was still a morality in the United States. But television has ruined it all. You see all the women with their low-cut dresses and all the illicit sex, and as naked as they can get away with, So this promotion of sin then has ruined Christianity. But the other thing we've discussed is the meat eating ruins Christianity. Otherwise, it's a fine religion. We have no problem. As a matter of fact, Christianity is Vaishnavism without the detail. They're saying, you're eternal? Yes. Worship God? Yes. Develop your love of God, because the core teachings of Christ is develop love of God. Same. But the knowledge is missing. Completeness of the knowledge is missing. But any Christian who is a vegetarian, they will certainly be promoted. They will go to heaven. Actually, they will. And they're the only ones. Only the vegetarian Christians will qualify to go to heaven. Because actually, Christ is not a platinum charge card. Sorry. And I doubt that any of the viewers of this video believe that, but the Christians believe it. Charge up to Christ, do any damn thing, doesn't matter, He'll save you. Therefore, the billboards or hoarding boards on the highway say, Jesus saves. Yeah, but what about the surrender? They want a freebie, we call it in America. They want it for free. Just, pray to Jesus and He will save you. That's okay. You can carry on your lifestyle. That's no problem. Just go on as you're doing. Jesus will save you. It doesn't work like that. Not so cheap. Pure religion's principles are universal. You have to give up sinful activity. They may preach like that, but they don't know what is sinful and what is not. That's the problem. But they will preach, give up sinful activity. They'll preach it. So there are still Christians that are moral, that are opposed to illicit sex, opposed to intoxications, drug use, and all that. There are still some Christians are opposed to that. So once again, the only defect is they do not vegetarian. But if a vegetarian Christian, they will certainly be promoted to the higher planets. If they're sincere, if they're truly devoted to Christ, vegetarian, then they will be promoted to the planet where Christ is located. He's located on the higher planets. Then they will be promoted to the higher planets, and He can teach them what they were not fit to hear on this planet. It will be continued education. Then once they achieve the heavenly planets, everybody on the heavenly planets knows that Lord Vishnu is God. Everybody knows that He has a minimum of 4 arms, and sometimes He's described as having thousands of arms, So they'll find out all of this, what they weren't fit to learn on this planet, if they're sincere and pure in their religious practice. Then they will get their postgraduate study, by attaining the association, actually attaining the association of Jesus, and then because they're in a different venue, without the sinful distractions of this gross planet Earth, and modern society especially, then they can learn the pure principle of religion up there. They can learn who is God, what is He actually like, and then they get the opportunity of serenity, because then He can teach direct. Pure Krishna consciousness He can teach then. You see, because by then they'll be purified and qualified. Or, if necessary, by serving Jesus there, because Jesus is their guru, certainly. But they don't listen, they don't surrender, they don't obey. Because He said, "Go thou and sin no more." That means give up your sinful activity. But they don't. Just charge it up to Jesus. And so in this way, they might also get opportunity by the mercy of Jesus to associate with other sadhus on the higher planets, who can also give detailed description about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So from there, they can spring their way to Vaikuntha. But they cannot go to Goloka Vrindavan. Can't go. Those that are supremely fortunate might make their way to Vaikuntha after final purification on the higher planets, because they're all devotees of Lord Narayan on the heavenly planets, Lakshmi Narayan. So they could get that final purification. And then some of them could qualify to go to Vaikuntha, but they cannot go to Goloka Vrindavan, because the only way you can enter the Goloka Vrindavan is by the invitation and guidance when a resident eternal Nityasiddha, or eternally liberated soul, takes you by the hand and personally leads you into Goloka Vrindavan. That's the only way you can get there. Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. Very stringent. Only a resident of Braj can take you there. That's it. You can't get there no matter how pious and religious you are. You can't get there except by taking shelter of a resident of Braj. For us, our resident of Braj is Srila Prabhupada. And he has his bona fide representatives, the Diksha Gurus in ISKCON, and they in turn have got their disciples now. We see how many ground disciples are really fixed and Krishna conscious, who follow Srila Prabhupada carefully, the Vani or instruction, who follow carefully. They can also be called pure devotee. There are many, pure devotee doesn't just mean Paramahansa, Mahabhagavad, Uttamanikaya, highest level, but pure devotee in the broadest definition, ground floor definition is, a pure devotee is one who follows Acharya. Whoever follows Acharya, they may be considered a pure devotee, but not automatically Paramahansa, you see. So this word pure devotee is bounced around, by devotees. Say, oh yeah, he's a pure devotee. No, they don't know who is not. And sometimes they make it sound like it's all relative. No, the qualities of pure devotees are described. So who follows Acharya, they can be considered pure devotee. That means who rises early in the morning, follows the regulated principles, chanting 16 rounds, worships exclusively Krishna or Lord Vishnu and another sampradaya, who offers Yat Karoshi Yada Shashi Yaja Jahusi Didasidat, who offers all their foodstuff to Krishna, so it becomes Krishna Prasadam, who personally worships the deity of Krishna, or at least is always daily observing the Arti ceremony and worship in the temple at least. Such a person can be called a pure devotee. You see, that's the broadest foundation. But if you want to speak of a pure devotee as fully self-realized, very narrow category at the top, pyramid-shaped. At the top is the Paramahansa. Paramahansa means swan-like, like we say, Jaya Om Vishnu Paramahansa. Means the swan-like devotee. The swans are considered the most beautiful of animals, of birds. Very, very beautiful. We don't see many of them anymore in Kali Yuga, but they are there. Swans, very beautiful. So swan-like, Paramahansa. So that is very high level, not a cheap thing, of pure, the best, highest level of pure devotion. Prem. Paramahansa must have Krishna Prem. Uttamanikaya must have Krishna Prem. Mahabhagavat must have Krishna Prem, nothing less. But others may be very pious, that's fine. The next step down is Madhyam Adhikari, mid-level. So in our society we have many Madhyam Adhikari, advanced stages of Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam comes from the word middle, or median comes from Madhyam, like the median on a highway, the center cement centerpiece in a highway, or that's called a median. So mid-level. So one in our society, Prabhupada has created many thousands of Madhyam Adhikaris who have strong faith, who are following Acharya, who are great, wonderful devotees of the Lord under Prabhupada's strict instructions. Many thousands that Prabhupada created, especially through his representatives. So that conception is there of pure devotees. But Sudurlabha means very rare, very rare. But one can be certain of salvation, and the Vaishnava says one can certainly get a second chance to go to heaven, but we're not interested in heavenly planets. The heavenly planets, no matter how beautiful and how wonderful they are, still is material. We are interested in going to Krishna's planet, which is in the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan is shaped like a lotus flower. His whole planet is designed as a lotus flower. He's God. He's unlimited. He's all-powerful, omnipotent. Omni is a Latin word for all. All-potent, omnipotent means he has all the power. So his planet, whole planet is designed as a lotus flower, and we can go there by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his bona fide representatives. Those that are serious in Krishna consciousness, they can go at least first to Gokula. Gokula is a planet where Krishna's pastimes are taking place, where the moving Krishna is there, playing on the flute, attracting gopis, and all the leelas there. Those planets are called, those places are called Gokula. And then the final purification takes place. And from there, one may be springboarded up to Goloka, the spiritual world. But in most cases, the devotee has to undergo further purification and burn off the last of their material desires, such as the most prominent one being lust. The last of the material desires one has to burn off before they are qualified to go to Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna's abode in the spiritual world. So first one goes to a material planet where Krishna's pastimes are taking place. Just as 5,000 years ago, Krishna came with his whole entourage, or his whole millions of devotees came, gopis, carrot boys, and all these auspicious personalities, Nanda Maharaj, they all came and showed their manifest pastimes on this planet 5,000 years ago. And as we speak, on some other planet, Krishna's pastimes are taking place. Krishna's there with his associates. And the same pastimes we read about with some variety, they're there taking place. And so you get transferred to such a planet and you get final purification. This is a second chance. As far as those who want to go to heaven is concerned, as for Vaishnavas, if they end up going to heavenly planets, it's considered a derailment, a train off the tracks. Missed the point. Because those who are sincerely devoted to see Sri Radha and Krishna under the direction of Srila Prabhupada and pure Vaishnavas, those fortunate souls, they only can go to Krishna. That those who want devotees, I'm talking about devotees now, those who want money, sex, power, you go to the heavenly planets, all available, weapons, inconceivable weapons, atomic weapons, boom, there's a lot of devotees who would like to have that kind of power. If they had, so that Krishna doesn't give. You know, well, I don't like you. Zap, boom, finished. You know, well, there are devotees who would love to have those kind of powers, but Krishna doesn't give. We would misuse. You know, so these things are all available. Opulence beyond imagination, the heavenly planets. We're not interested in heaven. We only want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. And devotees are given a chance to come back again. If they fail in this lifetime, they come back again. If their fall down hasn't been too severe. If their fall down has been severe, they may have to go down for some time. But it'll be minimized. Suffering, sinful reaction will be minimized. But those devotees who what in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna refers to accidental fall down, and Prabhupada is explaining maximum mercy is extended to Vaishnavas. There's no one more merciful in the creation than the Vaishnavas or pure devotees of the Lord. So even accidental fall down, all right, maybe you have to come again to human form of life, and maybe you have to come more than once to human form of life, but again you will be awarded association with pure devotees. And then you, at some point, you'll be able to complete your Krishna consciousness. So the answer is yes, another chance is given. And the classic story there, which might be indirectly referred to in this question, is the story of Ajamil, who was a pure Brahmana. Then he was out and about and saw a prostitute, a very extraordinarily beautiful prostitute, engaged in sex with somebody, and he just, oh my God, okay, I'm a upper Brahma, oh, whoa, that looks really nice, and he got massively distracted, and then at some point he picked up a relationship with a prostitute. He committed severe sins. He actually invited the prostitute to come and live in his home as his maidservant in the house. You know, like in India, you can hire a maid. So he invited the prostitute to come live in his house as a maid, and his poor wife, he neglected her. He neglected his wife. And ultimately, he kicked her out. Very cruel, you know. So he became very cruel, and so he had no way of getting donations anymore. He's no longer a Brahmin, now he's completely fallen. So he became a dacoit. And he was robbing and stealing and killing and everything just to get money, just to buy all beautiful ornaments and so forth to satisfy the prostitute. And then he had a child with a prostitute. And because he had been a devotee of Lord Narayan before he fell down, he named his last child, he was already elderly, you know, but somehow or other he had a child with a prostitute, and he named the child Narayan. So then the time came for his death, and the Yamadutas came fiercely to drag him down to hell, to drag him to the court of Yamaraj, to be condemned to eternal damnation. As the Krishnas say, eternal damnation, we say, well, that only means, you know, you can't count how many years, but it's not ultimately eternal. They believe it's actually eternal. In other words, can't be solved. But it can be solved, you know, but you have to give up the sinful activity, that's all. And you have to come in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord, or representatives at least of the pure devotee. So Ajamil, the Yamadutas came to drag him away, and he couldn't remember anything except the name of his boy, Narayan, because he was always constantly, he was chanting the name of Narayan because he's always calling Narayan, oh Narayan, bring me my shoes, Narayan, come here, Narayan, come here. He was very fond of his child named Narayan. Narayan, come here, Narayan, come here. So he was chanting the name of Narayan frequently, daily. But then the Yamadutas knew all about his sinful activity. They were tracking everybody, you know. And so then they came with their chains and ropes and started to drag him away. Then the devotees of Lord Narayan, the Visnudutas, they suddenly appeared. They suddenly appeared on the scene in their spiritual bodies and forbade the Yamadutas to drag away Ajamil. They forbade him. No, you cannot do that. Then the Yamadutas were confused. No one had ever been able to stop them before. No one had even tried in history. No one had even tried to stop them. Now these effulgent beings were stopping them from doing their duties, and they were armed also. They had swords also. If you don't comply, we will kill you. They had the power to kill a Yamaduta even. That's not an easy thing. But they were from the spiritual world. So then the Yamadutas were forced to stop. They also didn't want to die. So they inquired, who are you? You're very beautiful, effulgent beings. You look like devas, but you seem to have some kind of superpowers. Who are you? And they said, we are the representatives of Lord Narayan. And therefore, we've come to stop you from taking this man. But the Yamadutas are confused. Why? Why? Why are you stopping us? The man was very sinful, you know that. You seem to be full of knowledge. You know the man was very, very sinful. Fornicator and living with prostitutes, killing and robbing and all these sinful activities he was doing. How can you dare to stop us? We must take him to our Lord Yamaraj, and he will judge him and he will go down to the lowest regions of hell. How could you stop us? And the Yamadutas politely replied, he was chanting the name of Narayan. And therefore, because that is the absolute name of God, therefore we are protecting him. The Yamadutas replied, but he was not talking about the Supreme Lord, he was calling his child only. The Visnudutas replied, but the name of the Lord is absolute. The name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, Ajamil has attained our protection, you see, because he chanted the holy names of Narayan. So then they went back to Yamaraj very disappointed. We don't understand. We captured this man, a very sinful, a robber, illicit sex, terrible sinful activities. But these effulgent beings came and stopped us. We thought you were the Lord. Yamaraj says, well, actually, I'm just a servant of Lord Vishnu. I'm just a servant of Lord Narayan. They were representatives of Lord Narayan, therefore they had the power to stop you. So the question is there, and so we have this little book called A Second Chance. Yes, it's there. But one should not bank on it. One should not become complacent. One should not be like the Christians that think, as devotees, and unfortunately there are some devotees who think that, yeah, sure, well, I'll just chant Hare Krishna, I can get loose, I can have a girlfriend and I can do this thing and that thing and I'll just remember the holy name. Actually, the devotees are worse than the Christians because when they fall like that, they don't think about the future. They don't think about possible punishment. They don't think that they could be dragged to the court of Yamaraj. Maybe they have neck beads. They think, well, Yamaraj can't get me, the Tulsi beads. But they still have to get punished for their sinful activity. They have to go down. So, of course, they will be given a second chance. So, especially those that are devoted to the Lord, they will be given a second chance. But those who are not devoted to the Lord, they don't get a second chance. Hare Krishna.